All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Brantford Winstonworth is now presiding.
Good evening, everyone. You may be seated. I am Circuit Judge Brantford Winstonworth, and I will be presiding over the case of State of San Andreas versus Nick Butcher. It is yet unnumbered, but we will make sure that gets done. With me today is the wonderful Associate Justice Willow Clarkson, who will be serving as our transcriber for this evening's proceedings, so that we don't have any issues of detail if there should be an appeal. Before we begin, I'm going to instruct the defendant to rise and state their name for the record.
Nick Butcher.
Very good. Was everyone able to hear Mr. Butcher? I'm going to take that as a yes. Very good. All right. Counsel for the defendant, please identify yourself.
Kodakau, the Public Defender's Office.
Are you the first chair, Mr.
Oh,
Cobb?
I apologize. First chair, yes.
All right, very good. And with you?
Nadia Koslova, Public Defender's Office, second chair.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Koslova. Nice to have you, Mr. Kell and Mr. Koslova, in court today. I believe this is our first matter together. I'm looking forward to it. And counsel for the state, if you could please identify yourself.
I am Detective Sergeant Sherry Belfleur, Your Honor.
And counsel for the state, please inform the court of the charges which the defendant is facing.
The defendant today is facing 2 counts of aggravated vandalism.
Wonderful. I will now inform everyone of this court's rules. To begin, both parties are expected to maintain a high degree of professionalism. I hasten to remind the parties only to address this court and not each other. Everyone present for this proceeding will maintain respectful behavior and abide by courtroom etiquette. Those attending will respect the authority of this court and will comply with this court's instructions. All electronic devices must be turned off or set to silent mode. No recording or photography is permitted by those in the gallery. Conversation shall be kept to a minimum and conducted in a whisper so as not to disrupt this proceeding. With the rules established, do the parties have any pretrial motions for this court to consider?
The state does not, Your Honor.
All right, wonderful. Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Very good. We'll proceed as usual then. State, you may call your first witness or introduce your first piece of evidence.
Okay. Your Honor, the state would like to call Evelyn Saint as our first witness.
Very good. Come on down. Mr. Gomer is going to swear you in. Would you like an oath or affirmation?
Affirmation.
Very good.
Okay, please raise your hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Okay, you're sworn in.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mr. Gomer. Go ahead, Miss Belfleur.
Okay. Sergeant Saint, could you explain what brought us here today in a short and concise manner?
I can. I went to assist another officer to transport a suspect from another call. We were inside the lobby of Pillbox when we noticed that there was a puff of smoke coming from our vehicles, so I went to investigate. When I saw the suspect spray painting my vehicle, he had tackled me and ran to his vehicle along with the female that was inside the hospital, and we pursued them for basically spray painting our vehicles.
Okay. Did you see any vehicles being spray painted? Like, was their color changed? Sorry.
Yeah, the Trooper 913 Sergeant, his vehicle was a pink hue, which is not normal for troopers, and my vehicle was there's a darker tint to it than normal.
Okay. And did you see anybody spraying Sergeant Berg's vehicle?
I can't say at this time, no, because he was around. His Sergeant Berg's vehicle was around the corner from mine.
Okay. Did you find anyone on scene with spray cans on them?
Yeah, we did. When we caught the male suspect, Nick Butcher, he did have several spray cans on his person.
Did the female suspect have spray cans on her?
No.
What led to you capturing the female and male suspects?
We had chased them from the scene, and they evaded us for 10 to 15-ish minutes, and
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, what's the objection?
Irrelevant.
Okay, and rebuttal.
I'm trying to get to the point that the individuals that were captured. Oh. He's rubbing his ears. Sorry.
If we could pick back up,
Yep.
please, from the state's rebuttal. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm trying to lay groundwork that the individuals captured were the same individuals that were at the hospital.
All right, reply from the defense. Mr. Cannell?
Yes, sorry, Your Honor. No reply, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. I find it to be relevant whether they were the same individuals.
Okay. Could
You can keep going.
okay.
I'm overruling the objection, so you can keep going.
Alright,
The
so-
testimony is allowed.
So yeah, at no time did we lose eyes of the same suspects that we were chasing from the original scene. Do you need anything more?
So, for clarity, what were the individuals that you arrested? The male individual, what was he wearing at the time of arrest?
A blue type of head wrap around his head. Sorry, not blue, black head wrap around his head. A black hoodie type jacket and body armor, as well as black, like basically covered head to toe in black gear.
Okay. And what was the person at the hospital wearing?
The male or the female?
The male. Sorry.
Same thing that I just described, covered head to toe in black clothes.
Okay. And sorry, Your Honor. Your Honor, just really quick, do you want me, if I'm trying to admit exhibits in, do you want me to post them to the docket and label them?
I
or
think that would probably be ideal, Ms. Bellafleur, just for the sake of clarity and then for review of the transcript as well. I think that will help everyone the most.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quick because I have some exhibits I'd like to admit.
Certainly. Does the defense have any objection to that procedure?
No, Your Honor, as long as we would have some time to review it after.
Certainly. I believe all the evidence should already be on the docket, but if there's anything new, of course, you'll have time.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
It's I'm just labeling the evidence that's currently on the docket, nothing new.
And then, just for clarity, I did not ask for opening statements because this is a bench trial, but I will allow closings.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've labeled the evidence onto the docket, Your Honor.
Let's have a look. I see quite a few exhibits there. Defense, are you able to see this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. All right. So we'll go as normal, Ms. Bellafleur. If you could just refer to the exhibit, and then the defense will have a chance to object to the introduction, et cetera, et cetera.
So I am looking to admit Exhibit D.
All right, any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, very good. You may proceed, Ms. Bellafleur.
Okay. Sergeant Saint, if you could look at Exhibit D on the docket, or let me know when you have it up, sorry.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. Is this what you saw when you came out of the hospital?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what are we looking at with this exhibit?
So you're going, like, with the exhibit, you're gonna see that the pink is not standard issued trooper, so it is not regular for for the trooper vehicles to have any sort of pink on it, since their coloring is going to be a blue and a gray.
And whose vehicle is this?
That's going to be Sergeant Berg's.
Okay. And can you identify the person laying on the ground to the right of
That's
his
going to
vehicle?
be Nick Butcher.
Okay. And how do you know that that is Nick Butcher?
We got him to the station and we fingerprinted him.
That's going to be my questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bellafleur. Defense, any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Would we be able to have 2 minutes to discuss with each other?
I shall issue one of my favorite orders. We're in recess for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, is everyone ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court is now back in session.
Hello.
Hello, Mrs. Saint, Sergeant Saint. I have just a couple things. So the first thing is, how long were you inside of the hospital before seeing this puff of smoke?
A
Or
minute or
spray?
two, honestly.
A minute or two? Okay. During that time, did you happen to see anybody walk up to or leave your vehicles?
No,
Okay.
because a blue vehicle was driving back and forth trying to. So I was more interested in that, and then all of a sudden we saw a puff of smoke.
Okay. At what point did you have unobstructed view of Mr. Butcher as you at the vehicle?
What do you mean? Like,
Because I'm just trying to clarify as to when was the first time you actually saw the individual standing or being next to your vehicle?
when I approached him, so I left the hospital and went straight to my vehicle. And then he tackled me and got in his car, and we pursued him.
Okay. And then which vehicle did you see him next to? I don't know the
My
numbers. I'm sorry.
personal.
Okay, your personal vehicle. And I'm sorry, I numbers are confusing.
It's all right. I'm
is your
513.
okay? I see. Thank you.
Oh, say that number one more time, please.
I'm 513.
513. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So did you see him actively spraying or spray painting during this unobstructed view?
No, he was crouched by my driver's side door.
Okay.
And when I approached him, he was still spray painting.
Okay. That is going to be all for now, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any redirect from Ms. Belfleur?
Yes, Your Honor. I just have one question for clarification. So for clarification, Sergeant Saint, did you witness the defendant Nick Butcher spray painting your vehicle?
Yes.
That's my only question, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Belfleur. Any recross? I haven't had one of those in a while. Mr. Cal? Mr. Cal, will you be recrossing?
Sorry, Your Honor, I was having some issues. Yes, I can recross, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
So just earlier there seems to be some confusion as to whether you saw Mr. Butcher actively spray painting or not.
I did not. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, continue.
I did not
yeah.
actively see him spray painting 913's vehicle, but I did see him spray paint my vehicle.
Okay, and to clarify, that is the vehicle that was spray painted a slightly different tint of black, I presume?
Affirm, yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, that will be it, Your Honor.
Very good. All right, Ms. Saint, you may step down.
Thank you.
Ms. Belfleur, you may introduce your next piece of evidence or call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Sergeant Rafe Berg. You have just a very quick question for him.
Sure. Come on down, Mr. Berg, to The Question Is Right.
Hello. Would you like an oath or affirmation?
Oath.
All right, please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under pains and penalties of perjury, so help you God?
I do.
Right, you are sworn in.
Oh, very good. Go ahead, Miss Belfer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Berg, were you present when the defendant was arrested?
Yes.
Who searched the defendant?
I did.
And did you find anything relevant on the defendant to the charges he faces today?
Yeah, there was 2 spray cans that seemed to be full with some sort of color spray, and a few, I think it was 2 that were empty, spread around his pockets.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to admit Exhibit A, B, and C for the courts.
Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
So admitted.
Thank you. Sorry, Your Honor. Sergeant Berg, if you could reference Exhibits A, B, and C.
Yep.
Just let me know when you're ready to continue.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Looking at Exhibit A, is that what you saw when you searched the defendant?
Correct. This is near the gas station on Strawberry of Mr. Nick Butcher's pockets before anything were touched. This is the A, it would be the very top of his pockets.
Okay. And in these pockets, is there anything of note that is relevant to this case?
The 2 spray cans that you can see that have color in them, and then the one empty. And then for the exhibit B, I think it is, there's another empty spray can.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was getting ready to go. So, Exhibit B, what is this a picture of?
This is like the middle of his pockets. You can see a little more items. There's the empty spray can, as we said.
Okay, and then Exhibit C, what would that be?
That's the very bottom of his pockets.
Okay.
That is, yeah.
All right. That is my only questions for Sergeant Berg, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Defense, any cross-examination?
If no, Your Honor.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Mr. Berg, you may step down.
Your Honor, I also do have more evidence to admit. I forgot to after Sergeant Saint stepped down. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Let's do some new evidence.
I just wanted to admit Exhibit E1 through E5 as Sergeant Saint did testify to the vehicle in her testimony.
The objection from the defense.
It's
It's
1 minute.
It's E1
so,
through
yes,
E5. Of course. Take your time.
1 minute.
Take
Yes,
your
thank
time.
you.
These are going to be the pictures of the vehicle, I believe.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's no objection to the admission of this, Your Honor.
So admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And then our next witness is going to be Senior Deputy Jack Rivers.
All right, come on down, Mr. Rivers.
Hello, would you like an oath or affirmation?
It's fine.
Right, please raise your hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalties of perjury, so help you God?
I do.
Witness is sworn in.
You go ahead, Miss Bellafleur.
Thank you, Your Honor. Senior Deputy Rivers, what was your involvement with the defendant, Nick Butcher, today?
An additional got called for a pursuit. We pursued him, and then I was the one that also searched him in the cells and confiscated the paint cans off of him.
Okay. And what cans did you take off of him? How many?
2 empty and 2 filled.
Okay. Your Honor, I would motion to admit Exhibit F1 through F5.
Any objections from the defense?
Sorry again. One moment, Your Honor, to convene.
Of course, of course. It's going to be F1 through F5, Mr. Kell.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, there's no objections, Your Honor.
Very good. So admitted.
Okay. Looking at F1 and F2, sorry, F1 through F4. Senior Deputy Rivers, is this what you saw when you looked in the defendant's pockets?
Yes.
Okay. Comparing Exhibit A to Exhibit F1, can you let me know when you have them both up?
Okay.
Okay. What is missing from Exhibit F1 compared to Exhibit A?
The colored spray cans are have been moved from his possessions to a Christmas box.
Okay. Is that the only difference between Exhibit F1 through F5 and Exhibit A and B, A, B, and C? Sorry.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
Relevance.
All right. Rebuttal from the state.
All right. I can elaborate first if that's.
Sure.
We
go
don't
ahead.
we don't really see what the displacement of said belongings has to do with the charges of aggravated vandalism. They're still on his person, regardless of where they are.
Yeah, we're are we okay to rebut? Sorry, Your Honor.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miss Bellafleur.
Okay. I'm just trying to confirm that the spray cans are the same spray cans that were in his pockets initially, to show that there hadn't been a tampering of evidence or a possibility for the evidence to have been moved other than when it was moved in the cells, even though it was in his lockbox.
The court finds the preservation of the chain of custody to be relevant and admissible. Establishing that the cans were and are the same is relevant to establishing the entire chain of causality. Therefore, the objection is overruled. You may proceed, Ms. Bellafleur.
Thank you, Your Honor. So back to the question, Senior Deputy Rivers, is that the only difference between Exhibit A, B, and C and Exhibit F1 through F4?
There's a few things moved around. Like for example, his Christmas box, the Christmas gift box was put deeper into his pockets, which also held the filled spray paint cans. Compared to Exhibit A, where you clearly see the spray paint cans, it was moved to the bottom of his pockets, as well as the Christmas gift bag.
Okay. And how many filled spray cans did you find again? I
2.
apologize. 2. Okay. Did you do anything with the filled spray cans?
I tested them for their color. They were labeled both as custom colors, but when I sprayed them themselves, one appeared to be black, another appeared to be somewhat pinkish pink.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to admit Exhibit G1, G2, H, and I, based on the testimony just given by Senior Deputy Rivers.
Certainly. And I'm going to trust that we won't need a sidebar about this. Does the defense understand the nature of these exhibits? If you have another objection, that's fine. I just want to make sure everyone is on the same page about the fact that the exhibits demonstrate the color of the paint as sprayed from the cans.
No, Your Honor. There's no objection to this.
All right, great. And you understand what I mean, Mr. Cal?
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Perfect. All right, very good. Those exhibits are so admitted. Can you say the letters again just one more time, Ms. Bellafleur? I am taking notes.
Yes, Your Honor. It's G1, G2, H, and I.
Perfect. Carry on.
Okay. Looking at Exhibit I, are these the spray cans that you confiscated from the defendant?
Yes, it is.
Looking at Exhibit G1 and G2, what are we looking at with G1 and G2?
G1 and G2 is the color that I spray painted onto a piece of paper, and confirming the color from spray paint can, filled spray paint can number 1, which was black.
Okay. And looking at Exhibit H, what are we seeing with this picture?
It's the pink spray paint can on the piece of paper, the same as the black, except with the other filled spray paint can.
Okay. Sorry, Your Honor. That is my only questions at this time for Senior Deputy Rivers.
Oh, very good. Any cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Mr. Rivers, you may step down.
Thank you.
Any further witnesses or pieces of evidence from the state?
Your Honor, if the defense will humor it, we do have the vehicle seen in Exhibit D outside that we can go physically look at with our eyeballs.
Defense, any objections to a small field trip?
Yeah, we would object. There's pictured evidence submitted that shows what the vehicle of the client is. So
Would the defense then? Are you saying that you would stipulate to the vehicles having been painted? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we talking about? I'm sorry. I misheard. I assumed we were talking about the Mr. Butcher's vehicle. I'm not the.
No. These are the police vehicles that are outside, is my understanding. I'm
That is-
asking if you want a field trip to go observe them, and then have the opportunity to ask questions. You could recall these witnesses during your case in chief, or you could, cross them if there's more witnesses to be called.
I see.
So
May
how
I
do,
have
how do you feel about the field trip?
Yeah. May I have a moment to?
You may
confer,
have
Your
a
Honor?
moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Your Honor, the defense has no problem with the field trip.
All right, very good. So I'm going to ask the officers to go with us, and I'm going to ask that everyone be well behaved, because obviously, there's a slight security risk here, but I see that the governor is in attendance, as well as Miss Hendricks and the Chief Justice, and even Miss Baker. I think that we'll be all right as long as everyone can keep their hands to themselves. So court will remain in session, but we will proceed outside for the field trip, where the state will have an opportunity to describe the evidence if necessary, and we can have witnesses answer questions if needed.
Your Honor, are we okay to move the defendant's cuffs?
Yeah,
behind
is he
him?
cuffed? Yeah.
He's
Let's-
cuffed to the
let's
table.
get
Cuffed to the
him-
desk.
Let's get him cuffed behind his back.
Yeah, bailiff's got it.
Yeah, you guys can go out.
Yes, sir.
You're a security risk.
I can behave.
Miss Baker, that was not meant to be slight. I just couldn't remember your name for a second. All right, very good.
I'm mostly giving you shit.
At least he
Judge
remembered when it
Winstonworth,
mattered.
would
He
you
did vote yes.
humor me with a question
All
momentarily?
right, court remains in session. Just as a reminder. Just as a reminder. All right, could we identify the vehicles, Ms. Bellafleur?
Yes, Your Honor. So this vehicle,
and I'll make sure that everyone is please speaking loudly.
the vehicle here, this gray, naturally gray vehicle, is going to be Sergeant Saint's vehicle. And if we could just walk to this direction. As you can see through the under hood, I guess. I'm not technically
Undercarriage.
Undercarriage. I
question.
don't know. I'm not vehicle smart, but under the hood, you can see the color difference between the gray, which is the natural color of the vehicle.
Do you mind if I get closer?
Go ahead.
Ms. Bellafleur, sorry, is it under the hood that got painted? Is that the assertion here?
The way that you know that the vehicle has been painted is like normally it would be gray, it would to match the primary color.
Do we have reference?
We can
This is a
get
little bit
another
non-standard. Hold
supervisor.
on. Order. Bang my gavel against my shin.
Ow.
Here's what we'll do. I will allow the state to file a motion if they wish. State, do you have a motion that you wish to file at this time?
I'd like to admit this entire vehicle into evidence, Your Honor.
Could we perhaps have is this going to be your exhibit J?
Yeah, J, Your Honor.
All right. Defense, any objection to the vehicle, and physical observation of it being admitted as exhibit J?
A moment to confer, Your Honor.
Of course.
Thank you.
History in the making.
Willow, you getting all this?
I sure am.
Perfect.
Might have picked up some talk on the way down the stairs, but you know.
That's okay. Court was still in session.
Look, I can still play my phone game and record.
That's incredible.
I know.
Sounds like it'd be the same.
Mr. Cal, how are we doing?
Yeah, the defense has one question, Your Honor, before.
Certainly.
Yes, because as the defense at least was walking to the courtroom, we witnessed the other vehicle, the one dyed pink, had their undercarriage shown to the public, and we are worried that since this was not submitted into evidence before the court took place and everybody was in the room, that there could have been some underlying circumstances to have tampering with a police vehicle.
You're objecting to the chain of custody, is that it?
Yes. Sorry, I don't know the. Yeah.
That's okay. That's all right. That's okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bellafleur, any thoughts?
Yes, Your Honor. Sergeant Saint did testify during the case that her vehicle's color was tampered with and was made darker. I understand the defense's concern. However, this color change that you can, the color change that we're trying to show with looking at the actual vehicle corroborates with her testimony.
All right, Mr. Cal, your concern is that the vehicle could have been repainted again in the time since. Is that it?
Yes, Your Honor, and if I may have another rebuttal to that, actually.
Sure. Go ahead, and then I
Um,
think I have a solution.
Okay. The witness, Sergeant Saint, also did state that her vehicle was black in color when this vehicle is gray in color, saying that the vehicle was then dyed a darker tint
Oh my
of
goodness, that was
black.
so fast. I'm sorry.
That
I'm
was
sorry.
very fast. It's okay. I got a little spooked too. Um, uh, yeah, so I would question already that statement that was made, saying that the car was black in color, when right now it is gray.
All right, Ms. Bellafleur.
Your Honor, gray is a on the color scale of black. Also, I don't believe she stated the car was black. She just stated that it was painted a darker shade.
Did we have Ms. Bellafleur? Did we have any photos and evidence of Miss Saint's car and like it being painted?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Just the testimony, Your Honor. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. And just to confirm, Mr. Cowell, your concern is about whether or not this has been painted again in the time that we've been in court. Is that right?
Or tampered in any way due to the fact that, again, one of the vehicles out here that was being admitted into evidence had the undercarriage open.
Can we stipulate both parties to the fact that the issue at hand is the painting? Is that right, Ms. Bellafleur?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. Cowell, are you willing to stipulate that the issue at hand is the painting?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, great. Does anyone have a tissue or cotton swab, a Q-tip, as I think they're sometimes called?
They have a plush goat you can use to wipe something out.
The cops probably have gauze in their.
I have a hat, Your Honor.
Do you have gauze?
Oh, I do have a
bandages would actually
bandage.
work perfectly for this.
Here, Your Honor, here. I have a bandage.
All right, great.
There you go. There you go, sir.
All right. Now I've got in my hand a bandage, and what I'd like to do, if the parties have no objections, is wipe this bandage against the undercarriage of the vehicle, which would have potentially been painted in the time since we've been in court. And I imagine that the paint would therefore be wet as a result of wiping the bandage against it. Is there any objection to that?
So the under
No, Your Honor.
just a question for clarification, Your Honor. If it has not been painted since we've been in court, it would be
I'm imagining
dry?
it's going to be dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Your Honor. No, there's no objections.
All right. And Mr. Cowell, is this satisfy your concerns?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, very good. And again, I'm not saying that this is definitive one way or the other, but hopefully it will resolve some of the concerns about the vehicle. So we'll just consider it all as one thing. All right. This looks like a pretty dry bandage to me, Mr. Cowell. I'm not seeing any wet paint. Do you want to inspect it carefully?
No, Your Honor. That does look like a pretty dry bandage.
All right, Ms. Bellafleur, you want to have a look?
It looks dry to me, Your Honor.
All right, very good. I'm not seeing any paint on it. And in fact, Ms. Bellafleur, I'll hand it back to you since you generously offered it to the court. All right, so now we know that it hasn't been resprayed in the time since it's been out here, so that's one item off the list. Any further objections to the car being considered as evidence before we get back to perhaps some additional witness questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Bellafleur, do you have any witnesses you want to ask questions about the car?
Yes, Your Honor. Would I be able to resummon Sergeant Saint?
Yes, of course. Ms. Saint, if you could come on down, please. And you are still under oath or affirmation as before. So I'm just going to let Ms. Bellafleur, I'm going to step over here.
Thank you.
I'll let her ask you questions.
I just have a quick question for you, Sergeant Saint. Is this the color of that the vehicle was sprayed outside of the hospital that you saw?
Yes.
Okay, and who did you see spraying the vehicle this color?
Nick Butcher, the suspect that we chased.
Thank you. That's my only question, Your Honor.
All right. Any cross-examination from the defense? And you can consider the original scope of questions as well if you prefer.
No, cross, Your Honor.
Oh, very good. Just give me 1 second to update my notes.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Bellafleur, you got anything else for us while we're out here?
Yes, Your Honor. I also want to admit the vehicle behind this as Exhibit K, if we can.
All right, can
and
everyone just shift down a little bit, please?
Yep. And the state is fine doing the same dry test if that's what the defense would like.
Your Honor, I will
I'm
go
gonna
ahead and
need-
open the vehicle for you.
Wonderful. I'm going to need the bandage again, I think.
Yes, Your
Mr. Cal, do you want us to test the paint? Oh my goodness, that's very pink.
Why not, Your Honor? Yes, we will.
All right,
we
very
would like
good.
it to be tested.
Ms. Bellafleur, do you mind?
It looks like your hair color.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, true.
Here you go.
Well, it kind of does. All right, I'm going to gently test this paint again. I'm just gently rubbing the bandage against the hood, of course. Gently rubbing the bandage. All right, let's have a look. How's it look, Mr. Cal?
Looks pretty dry, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Bellafleur?
It looks dry to me too, Your Honor.
All right, I'm also going to check the side of the car as well because this part. Oh my, there's a lot of pink here. All right, let's just check all these areas.
Not a good
Hold on.
look. Not a good look.
Mr. Stevens, court is in session. I'll ask you to keep
Sorry,
your
sorry.
voice to yourself. All right. Let's have another look. All right. Looks pretty dry to me, Mr. Cal.
Pretty dry, Your Honor.
Yep, looks dry to me, Your Honor.
And then is this going to be your Exhibit K, Ms. Bellafleur?
It would be the Exhibit K, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Are you going to call any witnesses about this, Ms. Bellafleur?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to resummon Sergeant Saint.
All right, come on down, Miss Saint.
Hello.
Hello. Sergeant Saint, is the color of the vehicle currently the color that this vehicle was outside of the hospital?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that is my only question, Your Honor.
All right, very good, very good. Any cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Saint, you're dismissed. Ms. Bellafleur, anything else while we're outside?
No, Your Honor.
All right, great. So we're all now going to go back inside, and I'm going to thank everyone for being so cordial and civil. Unfortunately, everyone will have to get searched again, so I am going to call the court in recess until we get back together inside.
Yeah, we are all good, Mr. Judge, sir.
Are the parties ready to resume?
The state is, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so attentive and cordial about our fun little field trip. That was very delightful. I think it was very helpful to the case of, fact finding. Of course, we can only consider the evidence as it's presented, but hopefully this helps both parties understand the facts and the circumstances for considering their cases. Ms. Bellafleur, do you have anything further?
No, Your Honor. The state rests our case at this time.
Very good. Mr. Cal, it's now time for your case in chief. You may recall any of the witnesses that have been called so far. And I understand this is a bench trial, so if you have anyone else you'd like to call, it's fine too. We would not require a witness list in this case. If not, then we'll give some time for closing statements.
Your Honor, I don't think we have any further questions or witnesses that we would like to bring up.
All right, and just to confirm, you don't want to directly examine any of the witnesses called by the state, is that right?
Apologies. One moment to confer with counsel.
Of course,
Your Honor.
of course.
Thank you. No, Your Honor. There would be nothing else for the defense to bring up at this moment.
All right, so you rest your case.
Yes, we rest our case, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Do the parties need any time to prepare closing statements?
The state would request at least 5 minutes, Your Honor.
About
All
the
right,
same
and,
time, Your Honor.
All right, let's do a 5-minute recess. Court's in recess. All right, very good. Are the parties ready to proceed?
I apologize, Your Honor. I need just a few more minutes for the state.
Mr. Cal?
Oh, apologize. The defense is ready, Your Honor, for
We'll do a 3-minute
whenever.
recess. All right, very good. Ms. Bellafleur, are you ready?
The state is ready, Your Honor.
All right, wonderful. The state, you may give your closing statement.
Sorry, wait a second. I'm just sure Sorry, Your Honor. Your Honor, and the courts. Today, we heard testimony from a seasoned member of law enforcement, Sergeant Evelyn Saint, who testified to witnessing the defendant, positively identified via fingerprints as Nick Butcher, spray painting her vehicle. Upon seeing a cloud of smoke, Sergeant Saint ran to her vehicle and witnessed the defendant's actions. When confronted with a witness, the defendant chose to tackle Sergeant Saint. After multiple searches, Senior Deputy Jack Rivers confiscated 2 spray cans. Upon investigation, the cans returned 2 colors, which was black and pink. Through our own eyes today, we witnessed Sergeant Saint's vehicle having been sprayed black under her hood, and we also witnessed with our own eyes Sergeant Berg's vehicle having been sprayed pink under his hood. These cans were inside of Nick Butcher's lockbox, were not able to be tampered with or otherwise swapped out, and were still inside of his lockbox when confiscated from the defendant. Through testing in front of us today, we saw that the paint was dry, removing any doubt to the chain of custody of this evidence. Sergeant Saint testified that both vehicles had been modified from their original colors, that she was only inside of the hospital for approximately 1 minute prior to seeing the cloud of smoke, and that the only person near the cloud was the defendant, Nick Butcher. As the definition of aggravated vandalism is the destruction or damage of property belonging to another with malicious intent that is lesser than destruction of property, the state affirms that spray painting a vehicle is damaging that vehicle. To become an aggravated charge, the charge must be against an on-duty LEO, as both Sergeant Saint and Sergeant Berg were on duty at the time, which is confirmed by their ability to pursue and arrest the defendant. The aggravated circumstances were met. Also, the malicious intent is inferred by the fact that the defendant, when I lost my chain of thought. I apologize, Your Honor.
Take your time.
When confronted, sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
That the defendant, when confronted with a witness, chose to tackle Sergeant Saint instead of speaking to Sergeant Saint. Therefore, the state believes that there is no possible other solution than to find the defendant guilty of 2 counts of aggravated vandalism, for 1 count for Sergeant Saint's vehicle and 1 count for Sergeant Berg's vehicle, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bellflower. Mr. Cal, whenever you're ready.
Your Honor, everyone present in the courts, the defense believes that the evidence and the witness testimony brought upon this court does not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Butcher was responsible for spray painting the vehicle in pink, otherwise known as Miss Saint's vehicle. As we have seen from statements, there was 2 individuals involved in this case, and that no observation of an individual approaching or leaving Officer Saint's vehicle was made. Therefore, there is no proof to say that Mr. Butcher is responsible. There could have been another party involved or someone outside of their party involved responsible for this spray painting. Simply having a spray can of similar color does not indicate that the crime was committed, and as the officer stated, she was inside of the hospital for only 1 to 2 minutes, which makes it highly unlikely that Mr. Butcher would have had the time to spray paint 2 vehicles. With this being said, the defense finds that one account of aggravated vandalism against the vehicle dyed in pink should be found not guilty. That is all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cal. The issue and perhaps abbreviated verbal ruling. I may choose to be slightly more extended on the docket, but I am prepared to rule. In the matter of State of San Andreas versus Nick Butcher, Mr. Butcher is charged with 2 counts of aggravated vandalism. The charge of vandalism reads, the damaging or destruction of property belonging to another with malicious intent that is lesser than destruction of property, modified by the fact that this becomes a felony if the property is government owned. There is no dispute today that the 2 vehicles that were spray painted, there's no dispute today that 2 vehicles were spray painted. There's also no dispute that those 2 vehicles are government vehicles, as they are law enforcement officer patrol vehicles, and therefore the aggravating circumstance for the charge is met. Therefore, it is incumbent on the state to establish that there was damage or destruction of property belonging to another, and that it was with malicious intent. In this case, there is no dispute that the property belonged to another because, again, they were law enforcement vehicles. And there's also been no dispute that the property was damaged. It was spray painted and will require repainting and perhaps other investigation to ensure that it is in full working order as a result of the modifications that were made today. The major item pending is whether it was with malicious intent and whether it was in fact Mr. Nick Butcher that committed the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The argument raised by the defense is one of identity. Now in this case, we'll start with the identity of Mr. Nick Butcher. Officers testified that they had visibility on Mr. Butcher for the entire time that he was being pursued. They apprehended him, that they identified him by fingerprint. and that they found spray paint cans matching the paint that the vehicles were painted in his possession, as well as some empty spray paint cans. There's been, again, no dispute about the identity of Mr. Butcher having been present on the scene, having tackled Ms. Saint, and then having fled the police. The court finds that the fact that he tackled Ms. Saint and that he was caught in the act of spray painting one of the vehicles is sufficient to establish the malicious intent for the charge of aggravated vandalism. And indeed, the defense in its closing statement right now is really only contesting the pink vehicle, which in fact belongs to Mr. Berg, not Ms. Saint, but, you know, Scrivener's error, that's perfectly okay. As the court reviews the evidence, there was no testimony introduced today, nor were officers questioned about whether another individual was present on scene, whether enough time could have been taken to spray paint both vehicles, or anything of that nature. While the court appreciates the argument from the defense that it could have been difficult to achieve this in a short period of time, or that Mr. Butcher was not witnessed actively spray painting the other vehicle, there's no other individual on whom to cast the blame in this position. No other individual was witnessed, no other individual was apprehended, and there was no evidence on the scene that any other individual was involved. The only reasonable conclusion here, and while it is, you know, a slight leap, the evidence supports it, was that Mr. Butcher was responsible for spray painting both vehicles. He was present near both vehicles, he had the motive to spray paint both vehicles, and he had the opportunity to do so. The court therefore finds Mr. Nick Butcher guilty on both counts of aggravated vandalism, and thanks the parties for their time and attention today. We'll now consider sentencing. This charge carries 15 months and $100 for each charge of aggravated vandalism, which would bring the maximum allowable sentence of 30 months and $200 under the statute. State, do you have any sentencing recommendations?
Could I speak to the arresting officers for just a moment, Your Honor?
Oh, certainly, certainly.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state would request the full time and fine, especially with the defense's argument only pertaining to one of the charges that the individual pled not guilty to. We would argue that the second charge then could be seen as a crap, what's that word? I'm so sorry, hang on. A frivolous defense, Your Honor, I apologize.
Well, are you making an official motion for a frivolous defense, Ms. Bellafleur?
No, Your Honor, we're just explaining why we're looking for full time and fine. We're not asking for frivolous.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify. It's very important words. We have to go down a whole other rabbit hole. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right. Mr. Cal, any sentencing recommendation from the defense?
No, Your Honor, nothing specific.
All right. I do find it appropriate to issue the sentence of 30 months and $200 in this case, as the court and the officers, and indeed the defense, expended a fair amount of resources in the hearing of this matter. And I understand that, of course, Mr. Cal is entitled to a trial, and we thank him for exercising his rights today, as we had an opportunity to all learn about spray paint and go on a short field trip. However, you know, vandalism is a crime. And in this case, it is a felony. And therefore, the court finds that 30 months and $200 is an appropriate sentence. Mr. Kotakal is sentenced to 30 months in Bolingbroke State Penitentiary and a fine of $200 to be processed by the good officers here with us today. Are there any post-trial motions?
None from the state.
From the state? All right. From the defense?
None from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Court is adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Call. All right. Court is in session with sincere apologies to Mr. Cal. Mr. Cal is not being sentenced. Mr. Nick Butcher, apologies, is sentenced to 30 months and $200. 30 months in Bolingbroke State Penitentiary, fine of $200. Mr. Cal is not being sentenced. Mr. Cal is innocent. The court thanks him for his time in court today. I was just struck by his appearance. Thank you.
Thank you, Your
Court is
Honor.
adjourned.